Hello guys, in today's video we're going to talk about virtual port channels. Previously we've seen how we could create Ether channels and port channels with layer 2 devices. So today we're going to see something how we can create, let's say, just make a little scenario here. Let's say you have, for layer 2, if you have a switch here, you have another switch here. If you bundle those two links, okay, this switch 1, switch 2, you create a virtual port here, okay? But what if you could combine this whole thing, okay, to create a switch? Let's call this a switch 4, okay? If we could combine all of this to create a switch, that switch itself will be logical, okay? Now, since we have one switch here, now we could now create a port channel with a third switch. So this is going to be a switch that is physical. You can see, you can touch. Then this is a logical switch, okay? It's a switch, but it's logical, which means it's just created out of these two. And these two switches can now form a port channel, which is logical. So that's the basis of this, and it's only done with the Nexus switches that you see right here on the left, okay? So these are Nexus switches. I'm going to use them to, these two Nexus switches, I'm going to use them to create a port channel with a third one. A third switch is a iOS switch. So this is using a Nexus OS operating system. These two switches, it's a 9000 series Nexus switches. So these two switches going to bundle up to create a third switch, which in turn is going to create a port channel with this one. Okay, so we're going to bundle like this, okay, to create a port channel. So here is also another port channel, okay, but the real port channel for this, okay, that we're talking about here is going to be this one, the port channel that's formed between the Nexus switch and the iOS switch. Now, why do we have to do this? Okay, the reason why we have to do this is because under normal circumstances, when you have two switches, which are layer 2 switches, like switch 1 and switch 2, if you bundle these switches, bundle the links, okay, all the ports are forwarding, okay? That's why we talk about doubling the bandwidth or tripling the bandwidth. So in this case, it's going to be 3 links. So the three links form 3 times the bandwidth, okay, of each link. So it's multiplied by 3. But most importantly is the reason why we have to do this kind of thing is because in layer 2 we have something called spanning tree, okay? When you have multiple switches, okay, connected together in layer 2, at some point some of those ports are going to be blocking, okay? Some ports are going to be blocking and some ports are going to be forwarding, okay? So to avoid that spanning tree issues of layer 3 of layer 2 switches, okay? So that's why we use a Nexus switch because with the Nexus switch we can create a routed port channels, okay? These port channels here, unlike the layer 2 port channels, these port channels on Nexus switch is routed, okay? So we have a link here, which is a management link, okay? That management link makes sure that the port channel that we create between the Nexus switch is always up, okay? Knowing that it's always up, then now we can use that, you know, these two switches are going to be bundled up to create a port channel with the third switch, okay? So that's the logic here. And for now, what we're going to do is going to boot up the device, and then we're going to see exactly how to just get the Nexus switches ready for the configuration. All right, so I'm going to power on the Nexus switch, power on this one, power on this one, and I'm going to power on this one as well. That's the iOS switch. This is a regular iOS switch. And then I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn the CLI on. And then also for the that switch. So the purpose of this first video is just to so that you can see the boot up, how we boot up the Nexus switches, and then get them ready for the configuration, which is going to be the next video. For the iOS switch, comes up very quick. For the Nexus switch, is going to take a little bit of time. So the Nexus switch is booting up right now. iOS switch is almost booted up. The iOS switch is the one in the middle here, SW3. And if you're booting up a Nexus switch, you have to be a little bit patient because they are very intensive in bandwidth in CPU. So we're actually booting up the Nexus switch for the first time right now. Okay, the iOS switch is already up. Just going to configure it. Let me give it a host name. I'm going to give it SW3. And then you can just see show IP interface brief. Okay, show run. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do for this iOS switch is I don't want the interfaces to be in negotiation auto. Okay, because otherwise it's going to make it very hard to create those port channels with the Nexus switches. So I have to remove the negotiation auto here. I don't have to do for all the ports. I think I'm going to need probably just going to do for the first from gig 00 to gig 03. Okay, so I go in there and say terminal interface range gig 00 to 3. No negotiation auto. Okay, exit. Okay, so for the iOS switch is done. I don't actually have to do any more configuration on the iOS switch. Okay, for now, as I said, this first video I just want to boot up my devices, and then on the real configuration is going to be done in the next video. So let's check the Nexus switches. Now this is very important. If you see on the switch on the right, it's asking me a question. It's asking me power on auto provisioning. I have 4 options: yes, keep, no. Okay, I have 3 options, so I'm going to use yes. Okay, I'm going to use that yes. I'm going to do the same thing on the other switch when it gets to that mode. Waiting for the left switch to have the same, give me the same option. So the switch on the left also gave me the same option. So I'll continue with power auto provisioning and say yes. Okay, on the left. All right, so on the right, it says, do you want to enforce a secure password standard? I say no. It's going to ask me for temporary password. We'll say admin. Ask me to confirm admin. All right. So on the right, would you like to enter basic configuration? No. So the switch on the right is almost done. And now the switch on the left, let's see. So on the right is asking me to get in to log in, admin. There's a login, and then the password is admin. Okay, now we log into the switch on the right. Okay, so I'm going to complete the one on the left first because some of those instructions are actually very quick. If we don't respond quickly, they could actually take some defaults. So I just want to complete the configuration for the setup for the one on the left. And I'm using EVNG. Okay, so on the left, do you want to enforce secure password? No, I'm going to say no. Enter the password. I'm going to say admin. It's going to be default password, and then ask me to confirm admin. Okay, and then would you like to enter basic configuration? No. The reason I do this is because otherwise it's going to take me through a long process of, adding a lot of information that for me right now is not necessary. So it's asking me right now to log in on the switch on the left. So I'm going to say admin. As password admin. So right now, okay. So I'm logging into both switches, left and right. So let's start with the one on the left. If you want your CLI to have many colors so that it's much easier to see exactly your troubleshooting steps and so on, something you could add here will be terminal color persistent. Okay. So what's going to happen is if you type the wrong command, it's going to turn to red. Okay. If you type the right command, it's going to be green. Right now, I type terminal color persist. It's green because I typed the right command. But if I type wrong, it's going to, if I actually put that command and save, then next time if I want to type any commands, it's going to basically change colors depending on if my commands are right or wrong. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the switch on the right. Okay. So let's go into configure mode. Give a host name. Let's call this one switch 1. Okay. Call the one on the right. Let's call this one switch 2. Okay. So now we have switch 1 and switch 2. And if I do dir to see what's in the memory, okay. So right now you see this is the file that has the biggest size. Okay, that's the file on which that's the running for configuration. Well, that's where your configuration is going to be stored. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to make sure that when this switch boots up, it boots up with this iOS. Okay, so for that we have to enter this command: boot Nexus. Okay, boot from the flash, boot from here. Okay, we'll say enter, and on the right we do the same thing. We'll do it dir, enter. You see the biggest file here is this one, and it's the same thing. Since it's the exact same thing, I'm just going to copy from here and put here. I'm going to wait. When it's completed, we'll have to save the configuration. All right, so the switch on the left has saved, okay, our command. The one on the right is going to save very soon. So yeah, the one on the right is almost done. So what I'm going to do, right now I'm going to save this configuration. To save the configuration in Nexus, just going to say copy, run, start. Okay. Copy, run, start. And we'll do the same thing right here. Copy, run, start. If we don't do this, next time we boot the Nexus switches, it's going to go through all the whole process that we did already, okay? And for that, I can actually reboot. I could actually, if I reboot these switches, you're going to see it's going to go much quicker than before, okay? So right now we are basically done for setting for the setup, and we are ready to start configuring our device, but we're not going to do it on this video. We're going to do it in the next one, okay? So as I was telling you, if you type the wrong command, let's say I type feature, I don't know, feature set, okay, just like this, okay? So now the prompt turns to red. Why? It's because it's expecting something here, or I typed the wrong command or something, so that's why it turns to red. So which means it's an indication that I did make an error, okay? So that's why when you have different colors, it permits you to know exactly what commands you're typing in, and if you make an error, it's much easier to detect, okay? So right now I'm going to stop here for this video. This is the end of this video, because I just wanted to set our devices. Our two Nexus switches are ready, and then our iOS switch is also ready. So I can stop the video for now, and then we're going to continue the real configuration of the virtual port channels in the next video. Okay.